Good afternoon and welcome to the Penfield Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee meeting for December 11th. I'm Cynette Cavaliere, the chair, and I would like the committee to go ahead and introduce themselves, starting with John.
John Bennett, committee member.
Katie Rygg, committee member.
Pat Schichler, committee member.
You?
Cheremeteff, committee member.
Roy Green, committee member.
Matt Prinzing, Planning Department Liaison.
Sarah Waterman, Engineering Department Liaison.
Kevin Berry, Town Board Liaison.
Okay, thank you. And welcome, everybody. Our first order of business is the review and approval of minutes from the November 13th meeting. May I have a motion to approve them?
So moved. So moved.
A second?
Sure, I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any corrections, concerns, issues with the minutes as sent out to us? Okay, Matt, you want to call the question?
Bennett,
Aye.
Rygg,
Aye.
Schichler,
Aye.
Cavaliere,
Aye.
Cheremeteff,
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, standing reports. The one we have is the Monroe County Environmental Management Council. There's no formal report for it. The meeting in November was a tour of the RIT Golisano Sustainability Center. So it was very nice to see. I'd been there quite a few years ago, but just to see how it's weathering and still how they're using it and the projects that they have going on there. So it was a very good tour, but nothing really formal to report. So that will move us to our review of required items, town development projects.
Yeah, so the subcommittee of Roy, Pat, and Ari went out to the site for 1320 Harris Road for the DeRoller subdivision. Pull up that report here. Town had very minor feedback, mostly just citing the dates that the documents were received, and adding in some details about some of the next steps, but a lot of the observations were to the point of what the subdivision will include for the construction of the single-family home with septic. The property has that existing 1.5-story home with 2 detached sheds. And there's the 2 lots, one lot being 2.013 acres, and the second lot would be 4.273 acres, which is compliant with the RA2, so that's 2-acre minimum lot size in the rural agricultural zoning district. And I know that there was some discrepancies on like the application of the lot sizes versus what's on the actual site plan. The differences were like the thousandth of an acre, and it's just that, we go by whatever's actually on the site plan, as opposed to, they may not have had the most accurate information when they were compiling the application, but the actual site plan is what they use to develop and construct the site. So those are the numbers that we look at from a technical standpoint. They looked at the 3 EPODs on the property: wetland, floodplain, and woodland. For wetland, we are still waiting for that jurisdictional determination from the New York State DEC. Floodplain, there are no regulated activities proposed to occur within the floodplain EPOD. And then the woodlot EPOD, they looked at that area to be developed. We did receive revised plans, I think just yesterday, and their new revised plans show that the area that they're clearing is 0.85 acres, but it still amounts to the same number of trees because we round up. And so they're still looking at either planting or paying into the town tree fund for the 9 trees, right? I think that's, yes. And then, were there any other questions or concerns from the other committee members that were looking over this? No. One thing that like Sarah and I had mentioned is that it's probably going to be pretty common going forward that we receive applications that don't necessarily have their JD in hand, or where they may not be referencing the woodland replacement policy. So we were thinking that like in our concerns, comments, and recommendations section, this like third comment had just the mentions of like, if the DEC determines that the project overlaps with the jurisdictional wetlands and or regulated adjacent area, the applicant will need to coordinate. And basically those standard statements may be something that we revisit and keep adding into those applications, or just become our standard response. We don't have a JD at the time of doing the review, just to help kind of facilitate and have that as a standard response from in our
It
reports.
felt very much like this would make a nice template report for all of us going forward.
Exactly.
Just because all things were considered, and then
Right.
we could say, okay, well, only 2 of the 3, and pull 1 out
Right.
for the next one, if that was the case.
A lot of input from all the members that went out and looked at it, and just wanted to say that it was pleasurable to walk this site. You know, it was a brisk morning, but not drippy, which could have been otherwise given the forecast. And there was a path that led along stone wall that allowed us to traverse the property. So unlike the one that you and I went to on your very first visit, where we couldn't even get a foot off of the swale there. But that and the clear marking of the trees really enabled us to figure out where we were.
Right. Yeah.
And, it just made things a lot less, or very clear, not confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, obviously, the tree tags were awesome with the number, and the number matched what they put on the drawing, so you could say, we're in front of this tree, and it's tree number whatever, and we can see it on the drawing.
And the species is on there,
Yeah,
the
it's
diameter,
wonderful,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Really well done.
Thank you very much to the 3 of you for going out and managing this request. As I said, I think it's great now. We have a strong report format that will make it a lot easier for all of us in the future. So I think that's great.
Well, I used your template that had been in, so.
Right. It's just been tweaked a little bit, but this is the first time I think we saw all 3 EPOD pieces in one
That's true,
location.
that's true.
I think part of what Matt was getting at was some of this language can be used in the future as well, and that's nice.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any, are there any other town development projects?
Not
No,
at this time.
Not at this
Okay.
time.
Do we have any requests from the town board?
None at this time.
Okay. Do we have any updates on clean energy community actions?
No major updates, just that we did get to have some discussion recently, and the current plan from NYSERDA is that they're hoping to have a new pond out second quarter of next year, and that there's definitely changes expected, but we don't have any details to share at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we can move into old business, and our first item is the Climate Action Plan RFP.
Yep, so we wanted to share that the town board approved the resolution for Collier's Engineering to be the municipal CAP Phase 1 consultant, and that we're working on completing the contract before the end of the year so that we can encumber some funds for next year as well.
That's great.
Okay.
When will they actually begin some work, do you think?
I expect they'll start work as soon as the contract is signed, because that starts with us providing them with some documentation of our greenhouse gas emissions.
Okay.
And
And that
utility
timing
usage,
works
that kind of
good
stuff.
with the funding that was allocated?
It does.
Okay, great. Anything else on that?
Have quotes come through for Phase 2 yet, or not yet?
We didn't do an RFP for Phase 2,
Okay.
so no.
Okay.
We would hope that we can look at grant funding in like the next year for Phase 2. And because with this Phase 1, we had a grant that was able to offset a portion of the cost, and so we're hoping to use that and, hopefully be able to leverage that into a phase 2.
I would expect us to start looking at the funding, the budgeting for that to be for the year after, so 2027. So
Right.
we would start looking at budgeting for that in like May, June at the latest to start. And that would be when we'd start like looking for grants, and likely, as we have considered, we'll likely apply for the consolidated funding application or complete that
Wonderful.
again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on that one?
So Collier's has been working on the active transportation plan.
Yes.
Did they also do the Monroe County plans, or is that a different
They
group?
did the Monroe County plan, yeah.
Some of the engineers and staff there did Monroe County plan. Some at Barton and Judas did that. They were also one of the groups that we interviewed.
Thank you.
It's a good choice, though.
They are working with Anchor QEA for the greenhouse gas inventory, for your information.
That's good.
Guys good? Okay. Our next topic is the mayor's Monarch Pledge.
We wanted to share that the actions were submitted and approved for this year, so we did complete that pledge. And we will need to discuss with the new town board if they would like to pursue the pledge again in 2026, as that would be Kevin's name on that rather than Jeff's. We did want to share that the 3 main actions that we took and are listed on their website are that we issued a proclamation to raise awareness about the decline of the monarch butterfly and the species' need for habitat, and that was the proclamation that included the Arbor Day celebration information this year. Our Parks and Recreation, Public Works and Sustainability staff worked to identify and revise the mowing programs in town, basically to continue what we're doing for a portion of Shadow Pines at Sherwood Fields, and have offset mowing areas so that the whole area won't be mowed every year. That will allow more pollinator plants to grow and ideally help those populations. We also facilitated and supported a milkweed seed collection and propagation effort at Shadow Pines that was in conjunction with Color Penfield Green and the Scribner Elementary Environmental Club. And thank you, Katie, for your assistance on that.
That's fun.
So those are our main actions and what the future currently holds. Matt and I did want to ask if this committee would be supportive of doing a letter to the new town board in 2026 in support of Mayor's Monarch Pledge. The idea would be to give newer members to the town board some education on what it is and why it would benefit the town to move forward with it again.
I would say
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Okay. We'll move forward with that then.
Actually, as you're speaking, I wonder if it's something, like you talked about, the Color Penfield Green went out and collecting, milkweed and working on that. Were you actually collecting some of the caterpillars, or no? Just
No, we had, we were scattering seeds. and-
It was a seed propagation effort, and it was more than just milkweed too.
Pardon?
It was a number of pollinator plants, but it was a
Okay.
seed propagation effort.
Okay. I was just wondering if it might be something in the future we could consider topic as we get speakers in our, speaker presentations, to have, a short talk about that, because it's something that your average resident could do very easily. I mean, when I learned about this, I stopped pulling out the milkweed along the border of my property, and, so.
So are you thinking a speaker presentation on maybe pollinator plants that would be
It could,
great
it
for
could
your
be,
yard?
right, could be pollinator plants, or if that would be too long of a presentation, zero in on specifically the ones that the monarchs feed on.
That's a great idea. We can add that to the list and look at that for the first meeting that's applicable next year.
Okay.
So are there any other topics we'd want to inform the town board on about importance, like clean energy community action items, or is there anything else we want to?
At this time, I don't have anything specific. I think clean energy community items will be applicable once they come out with a new pond, but since it's paused right now, and it's unclear what action items are going to be on it, like the next one,
Sure.
I'd be hesitant. However, once the new pond is out, I do have a standing offer from Rob Richardson at the Genesee Finger Lakes. I'm blanking on the rest of that.
Regional planning?
Is it
Regional
yeah,
planning,
I was gonna say,
yeah,
that's-
you're right, sorry. That he's the Clean Energy Communities Coordinator with NYSERDA, like for NYSERDA for us. He's happy to come and do a presentation for us and/or the town board as well.
Okay.
I was going to
When the
say,
new
I was
pond comes out, sorry.
thinking of Arbor Day. Should that be something, or not, the Tree City USA efforts? Is that something that should be also pushed forward again, or?
I guess I didn't consider that the town would stop being a Tree City USA. We have funding for that, and there's, like, having the ordinance in place and all of that. I don't think it's
Okay.
necessary. We've been directed to just keep doing it.
The pledge
Sorry.
is unique in that you basically dedicate yourself to committing these actions at the beginning of the year. And then you, at the end of the year, submit your application saying that you've done them. So there's that obligation of like, you're saying you're doing these, and then you have to, whereas
And-
Tree City USA, you just at the end of the year say what qualifying actions you did. So there's no commitment on behalf of the board or the town at the beginning of the year. So that's why we thought that the pledge makes more sense to kind of introduce it to the town board and
Okay.
say what actions we are looking to.
Well, and I
But
guess we'll look forward to the town board telling us if there's other sustainability efforts we need to explain
Sure.
or justify at the
Yeah,
time.
and for, just for information, for the pledge, that's something that the town, in our place, the town supervisor has to make every year. So it would be up to the individual supervisor.
Okay.
And I'm saying that
Gee,
like
we
Kevin's
have
not here, so I'm so
Gee,
sorry.
we have
Present
some,
that. But
I think we know him.
shoe in
But
here, you know?
it's under the authority of the supervisor specifically to make that pledge for the town.
Okay.
Whereas for Tree City USA, that's just something that the town has chosen to do, and realistically, the town board would have to take a contrary action to essentially pull us out of that.
I see, yeah.
Okay, what is the timing on the initial commitment for Mayor's Monarch Pledge every year?
December 1st to February something.
Okay.
Realistically, we'll be looking in beginning of January for the committee to approve the letter that we draft now that you've
Okay.
accepted that commitment, and then present that shortly thereafter to the town board.
Okay. And I know we've talked about the actions that it's our intent to continue with the Arbor Day proclamation, Mayor's Monarch Pledge proclamation, and then probably in similar activities. We actually have a couple activities, but the seed spreading in theory would work as one if that is planned for next year as well.
Yep. And then also for your information, we only submit 3 activities each year that we're making commitment to do. But the years that we've been doing this, we've been doing more actions than 3. It's just that in the December to February timeframe, you have to choose a minimum of 3 actions. And realistically, for the town to commit to 3 actions is a lot easier than to commit to 8 or 10. So anything else we do throughout the year, it's beneficial. It's just not something we're like getting recognition for. And realistically, it's been determined that that's acceptable at this time. So there are other Mayor's Monarch Pledge actions that we've taken this year. It's just those are the 3 that we've definitively provided them.
So this is just very much a say what you're going to do and then do what you say, and it doesn't matter if you do more. Just make sure those 3 are accomplished.
Right.
Yep.
It's not like Tree City USA where you have the growth award where you can ultimately get,
Potential grant
Yeah,
funding.
potential
you're
grant
giving it
funding.
away.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so you're going to prepare, are you going to prepare a letter for us to use as a,
Yep, it should come out with the next agenda.
okay, I appreciate that, thank you. Anything else on Mayor's Monarch Pledge? Okay, we can dive into Tree City USA and hear about the Growth Award.
Yeah, so we submitted applications for Tree City USA and the Growth Award through the Arbor Day Foundation. Timing-wise, our application submitted for 2024. We heard in February of this year that we qualified, so that's where we're thinking we may hear about our status as Tree City in 2025, as well as whether or not we receive the Growth Award around that time next year. The Growth Award actions that we took that were qualifying was the updates to the EPOD mapping of actually taking an inventory of our woodland areas in the town, and then the adoption of the woodland EPOD replacement policy. So those two were 5 points each to the 10-point minimum for the qualification. We have, or we're looking at for 2025, there's funding for in the 2026 budget for starting a town tree inventory. So that would be another qualifying action. And then if we have a consultant or if we put together a arboricultural standards and specifications, that would be another qualifying action. So based on that and the funding that we have in place, it looks as if we are potentially on track to qualify again in 2026.
And as long as we qualify, we would submit that application as well.
Right, exactly.
There's something else.
So are there what are the base requirements to hold on to Tree City USA?
You have to have the Arbor Day celebration, a Arbor Day proclamation. You have to have, what is the budgetary? It's
$2 per resident.
$2 per resident. Minimum.
In the budget towards tree care and tree planting.
Yes. And then either a tree board or a tree department. And so now with the public tree law that we passed last year, we designated Department of Public Works as our tree department.
Okay, so it's basically the same ones to get the recognition in the first place, hold on to keep
Yep.
the recognition. Okay.
So part of what we do every year when we submit the application is we provide how many trees were maintained, how many trees were removed, how many new trees were planted. We provide some details on the budget that was put towards those items. This year, I believe, we're close to $2.85 per resident for our spending. That went up slightly from last year. Those are the types of things that we're looking at when we fill out the application.
Okay, that's a lot of tracking.
Yeah. It's not too bad.
Okay.
It's stuff we already have to do for other things, so I
Okay.
just kind of compile the data and submit it.
Okay, anything else on Tree City USA from anybody? Okay. The EECC progress document.
Yeah, so I'll pull that up here.
Get to the right page.
So we've had this out to everyone. Looks like Katie added a comment for additional topics of interest, some identified in the comprehensive plan, others more loosely connected.
I like brainstorming.
No, that's fine.
It's a long list.
That's
No,
what we were
absolutely,
looking
yeah.
for, so thank you.
Yeah. Natural resources, proposed actions, page 20, or page 70. Add native plantings to all town/public facing facilities. Perhaps the ECC can sponsor a garden design competition. For sustainability, proposed actions, page 71. Review most recent energy audit, review opportunities to reduce energy usage and emissions, explore thermal networks.
So you're aware the first portion of that, reviewing energy audits and reduce energy usage and emissions, will be part of the climate action plan?
Yeah.
I do. I'm I don't know that the EECC has been named as the committee that would be
Oh, not at this
part of
point.
that, so, I'm sorry?
Not at this point, so
Right,
that makes
so-
sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I would like that on the list.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Whether it happens in conjunction with the CAP or separate, yeah.
okay.
So just to clarify, so you mean like whether if this committee is named, then they would do it as part of the CAP, and if not, they would additionally do it separately?
Yeah, I think that's a really important part. I mean, energy is the first part of this name, and I think we should be looking at that every year, if
Okay.
possible.
I agree.
I don't have any problems with that.
Yeah.
Networks, improve public transport in Penfield, connect to community center, perhaps have RGRTA in to speak about ways to improve ridership and reduce vehicle miles driven, install additional solar before credits for municipalities expire in July. Other official cooling center for New York State. Is that the?
We are. We are an
Oh,
official cooling center.
We're on the map?
Yeah, we
Oh.
should be. I don't know if they updated the map.
Okay.
I didn't
I
check.
apologize.
That was for the community center, right?
Right.
Yeah, the community center.
Yeah.
Oh, last I heard, that was still being reviewed, so
Oh,
I apologize.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Just so you know, the transportation is, that discussion about the RGRTA is part of the active transportation plan, like they're including options for that.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the topics. Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Explore refuse districts, explore options for composting at town events and facilities, perhaps starting with the community center kitchen. So I can look those over and add those into discussion topics and how each of these kind of have linked pages, create pages, and we can track project on each one and put in potential speakers for any of the topics if we would need that to provide more context.
So I didn't comment on the document, but what about considering zero waste to landfill at our town facilities?
I think at least EECC investigating that isn't unreasonable. And then potentially the next step, if the town board is favorable, the committee would potentially put together a letter to the town board acknowledging the benefits and the process and that kind of thing. And/or, depending, because I don't know exactly how, I don't know, when it's a new town supervisor, the processes can change, so it may end up being they request, like, this committee requests to investigate that for the town and make any applicable recommendations. But that is worthwhile to put, I think, on the progress.
So we'd list that as one of the discussion topics.
Yes, that'd be appropriate.
Okay. Matt, will you just make a note of that one and
I
add it
will.
on?
Rather than typing through, and
No,
because
that's
I will
good.
be very
Yes,
slow,
I just wanna
will
make
add it
sure
in when
it'll
I'm
be
doing the
captured.
minutes and all that.
That'd be great.
And if you're not already aware, when Matt writes up the minutes, he reviews this, like, the actual meeting recording and does it based on that. So
Right.
that is
Yeah.
why it's a lot easier to do it that way.
There's an AI that does that pretty well.
And uses,
Just saying.
I'm
and
the
uses
town
a lot
AI.
of energy to do it, so.
I
So we
right
might not
now
wanna go there.
just appreciate that Matt does it, and I don't need to. I just review it, so.
Yes.
Katie also commented, consider adding participating in Monroe County's climate adaptation and resiliency plan development.
We are.
Right, so
Do you mean
I
for
think
the
it should
committee?
be in the list of definitive goals, like that would be, right, that's something we're going to do, or?
So they haven't asked for the committee to participate, they've just asked for staff to participate.
Okay,
Maybe we can talk about it more.
okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So here's another topic idea. And maybe it applies or doesn't, but there's maybe a look at emerging contaminants that are of concern. And I don't know if it specifically applies to our town buildings per se, but I'm thinking more like, you know, our members and our community in our town, like things like PFAS and those types of things are becoming more and more of a concern in water and out in the environment. So I don't know what our issues in the town specifically would be, but it might be something worth looking into.
Those are things that are, and tell me if I'm thinking the wrong thing. Those are things like the main pollutants in the town, essentially, I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are included in our SWIMP. It's our Stormwater Pollution Prevention Manual. No, it's something
You guys
close to
monitor
that.
for
Management
PFAS in
plan.
this way?
Probably not yet.
So far, no.
And
and
PFAS
that's-
is found in water, like it's in water supply.
No,
it's
I
all
agree
over
with
the
you
place.
completely. I don't, so our contaminants of concern, I don't remember how often they're updated, but we update our SWIMP regularly. So I think that's something that at minimum I can bring back to our engineer, the other engineers that work on that document every year, so that they can start looking into that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be applicable to the committee, but at minimum, it is something the town should be considering. Does
Right.
that make sense?
But it may be, for us to take a look at that from a, environmental conservation perspective, potentially, looking at that and seeing if we can identify those things that you might want to consider.
It would
Besides
follow-
just PFAS, but
It would follow along with educating ourselves as well, wouldn't it?
it would,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's a state
which
permit.
is one of
so
our
it would require
goals.
change to the permit, though,
Yeah.
if they're going to add contaminants to the permit list.
Yes.
So, unless we just did our own study.
It may be
So,
more appropriate to be able to do that and have maybe some kind of educational speaker on it to start. If you'd find that reasonable.
Yeah.
Just, I'm trying to differentiate between what is under the purview of the committee to make changes for the town for, or make formal recommendations to the town board for, and what would be more of an educational item for this committee and the members, as well as to have available for residents to review. And because of the pollutants of concern being something that's regulated by the DEC and the list is provided by them, I think there's kind of a line that I'm not exactly sure where it is drawn yet. for
I see.
that.
But I think we'd have to realize what you mentioned first after doing the second, which is the, education piece, that'll come out,
That'd be my hope. That's why
whether
I'm kind of
something
presenting it
comes
that way.
out from that to
Yeah.
make a recommendation.
I mean, I don't think we've had a precedence, though, of reviewing town regulatory requirements.
No.
Yeah, or
So I
So
think
those are
that's.
DEC regulatory
Yeah,
requirements.
that's-
Right.
No, that's what I meant.
Oh,
No,
okay.
regulatory requirements that the
Yeah.
town is responsible for
Compliance stuff.
complying
Yeah.
to.
And I'm not suggesting that by
Okay.
any means, but
Yeah.
For an educational standpoint.
But I agree, that'd be at minimum great for education, and then potentially, I think we'd figure out next steps from there.
I can look it over and create an educational plan. Be like work.
I think this
That'd be
is
great.
really
We do that
good
for work.
things, yeah.
That's why we have a variety of members.
I mean, I can definitely.
Their
do that.
backgrounds, yeah.
If you want me to, we can.
Great. So I think at this point, we'd add that under an educational item.
Cool.
Were there any other ideas, additions, discussion?
Katie, did we cover all of your comments?
Oh, sorry.
So this was one of our topics, a Penfield planting guide for residents. This year, we created the native plants list. I wouldn't say that the native plants list is exactly a planting guide. It's just a list of what native plants are to this region and has some, general suitability for what kind of soil or shading, things like that. So I guess I was more putting it as a question to the rest of the committee. Do we feel that qualifies that topic? Is this topic concluded? Katie asked, could this be turned into a pamphlet that local garden supply stores could share? I think the one other pamphlet that comes to mind that we have that type of partnership with an outside organization is the trail guide that we have that I believe, it's at I believe Wegmans has it, but it's also at the rec center. They have the list of, so maybe we look at, what went into producing that. I know that is a very small, I've been working on updates to that, and it's literally like 3x4, and the maps are so small. So, yeah, we have to consider costs associated, but yeah, we can look into it and see if this is something, and what the cost would be with printing it and getting it out to outside agencies, or just having it, in more town facilities, whether it's at the rec center or if it's here at town hall.
I know you did post with the tree selection process, the fact that Monroe County had specific planting information affiliated with a lot of their selections.
Right.
So I don't know if it'd be more appropriate just to somehow reference, existing planting, but I don't think that would lend itself to a brochure
Right,
necessarily.
yeah.
That would be more of a link on websites.
The other thing about our brochure is that it's nice as a digital copy because it has hyperlinks to other websites that give you pictures and other information, whereas just printed out, it's a list of, all these species, which, yes, if you take that to a garden store, then you're anything like that, then you can look and check if species that are in that store and make your decisions based on that, but it may be difficult to identify them otherwise if you don't have the pictures with it. But.
So at the least, perhaps you could send or make the garden stores within Penfield aware of these are native species, because oftentimes people go into a garden store and they're asking for, help me, I've got a shady plant, I'm looking for a native pollinator, which one is? And so if they know that we've sent them, this is our listing, they themselves, so it's not, expending a lot of money on brochures, but at least making it available to the people at the garden center for them to be advising customers.
And to keep them
I don't know, Katie,
in
what-
stock, I guess, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I think having that information in the store would make it more likely that the store would carry those plants, or they would want to, right?
Yeah.
So that's a
I
good
like
thing.
that. I think that's a good idea.
Do we know if they're actually carrying them already, potentially?
Well, certain are and certain are like, so I'm not going to name names here, but, some are very in tune to that, and, yeah.
Well, that may be shaped for a number of reasons and based off of what people normally buy and ask for and those types of things. So it could be a slew of reasons, but if the town is to move forward with something like this, if this committee is to move forward with something like this, then that may shape what they have in the future.
Yeah. Another thing to consider is that, the stores in Penfield serve more than just the residents of Penfield. So they would need to explicitly say that, like, these are Penfield native plants. You could have somebody visiting from out of town and they take their, what they think is a native plant outside. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to be very clear about and understanding for that to all work out. But, yeah.
I'm going to print this out and take it with me when I'm going shopping this spring.
Yeah.
Just the core
It's so great.
list by.
Yes. I need
Yeah, by
help.
area and by season, it's kind of nice to have.
So in the section for sustainability-related code, Katie mentioned add mixed-use development.
Do you mean add the mixed-use development code to that section?
Yes, and I was going to look it up, and I didn't get around to it. So,
That's okay.
But I did think the intention of the mixed-use development code was to have a sustainable development. So I think that it belongs there.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I think that should be
Okay,
all
thank
of the
you for
comments.
going all in on this, Katie. I do appreciate
Yeah.
that when one of you takes one of these things on. I kind of love the fact that it flows, like one time it'll be you, Roy, kind of really going deep, and, the next time it'll be Ari. So, Katie, this is really appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fun. I enjoyed this.
I know that we had mentioned that this document should hopefully help, like, especially when, like, completed goals, how we've been listing these, and I've been
I
kind of
think
color coding
that's
them.
my favorite slide, though, or
Sure.
page right there. To see the green for this year just kind of blows my mind. It's especially attending the Monroe County meetings, and really feeling like this committee has had a huge impact this year, made a huge difference. So
we've been kind of, as a side note, been looking at that slide as being a way to kind of draft what we want to be added to the sustainability website or webpage on the town's website. So you have the actual, like, under home, our community sustainability. It's more of a narrative of like the town's sustainability initiatives, but there's also the sustainability at work page. It's on the side there. And this is more of just like a bulleted form of all of the initiatives and actions that the town has taken since the 1980s related to sustainability, but it hasn't been updated since 2020. So Sarah and I have started drafting updates to this based on, we have the 2024 and 2025 based on what we've had in the progress document, but we want to fill in that gap for 2021. I'll start at 2025 just because it's this up, but ultimately you have basically all of those topics that are in the progress document, similar format to what is on the web page. Is there anything seen here? Feel free to look at this, but I'll share it with the rest of the committee and you guys can provide additional comments afterwards, but just showing that this is one of the web page updates that we're hoping to have done in the next.
So ultimately, would you be adding links where appropriate to this, or would this just be a static list?
Ideally, we'd end up having links where appropriate and current for that. At this time, it's just a list.
Right.
Like the updates are just a list.
Yeah, the page itself looks a bit dated and, probably could use more links or context to what these actions are. Right now, it really is just a bulleted list of the things that we've done that are sustainability related over the, 40 years.
I like the retro 1980s style.
All right, then noted. We will keep that.
We just thought some people would think it was a little boring and stop reading.
The green screen would be perfect.
Well, there's some beautiful logos that could be added, like the Mayor's Monarch Pledge.
So
we have started
those are at the top. We have like this revolving banner that shows different images. We can add more images or update the images as needed. We can link to different pages based on, what the, for Mayor's Monarch Pledge, linking to something like that, or Tree City USA, linking to a separate page. But
The pollinator pathway signs you're handing out for when somebody meets that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's one of the banners at the top.
Oh, it's already in there?
I think it's the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see
Oh,
it
okay.
there.
But if you have any recommendations of photos in Penfield or any actual photos you want to provide that would be applicable to these pages on the webpage, on the website, please feel free to pass them on, because every time that we try to add one, PCTV and I are scrounging. So if you want to provide assistance in that, it is very welcome. So Matt went through 2025. This is 2024.
Yeah, it's broken up by the
That's a
two
little
pages,
funny.
but 24 big ones were public tree law, Tree City USA status, CEC designation, the
And grants.
EECBG grant for the electric vehicle, Mayor's Monarch Pledge, the Arbor Day celebration with the native shrub giveaway and EV car show, and then the CEC campaigns, the community campaigns for EVs and clean heating and cooling. 2023 was the town board adopted unified solar permit, the second EV charging station here at Town Hall, CEC grants used for tree plantings at Shadow Pines along Atlantic Ave. We completed the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and that was the year that we renewed the CCA program for another 24-month term. And then again, those community campaigns, 2022, completion of the energy code training for the building department, the CEC campaigns, the action grants that we got, that $5,000 grant went to the charging station, is that right? And then $1,000 for tree planting and giveaway held at Rothfuss Park and electric car show. Then 2021, the first year that's missing, completion of the streetlight survey. I guess we could throw, because that was the streetlight survey was just a survey of the streetlights and more of an understanding. Well, the inventory wasn't completed until last year, right?
No, that was the year that the streetlight survey was the inventory.
Oh, okay.
Last year was the completion of
The conversion.
the conversion.
Okay, so that needs to be added to
Yeah, we'll have to add that.
2024.
Would somewheres be, I know, color Penfield green in the town, put into pollinator gardens at the library? Is that, I don't
I
remember
think
what year.
That would be applicable, yes, in this grouping, as well as the one at
Willow Pond.
Willow Pond. Thank you.
What about the renewable energy code? Is that in there somewhere?
That is 2025,
That's a big one.
Renewable
Yeah, okay.
Energy Systems Code, and then also the Renewable Energy Systems Decommissioning Plan and Fund.
Great.
That was added to the
It's unreal that was this year.
specifications, right? Yeah.
That was 25? I see.
It was, yeah.
Right, well, that's the thing.
We
is that
worked on it last year. It was
right, we were-
completed this year.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of those were like.
It was like early March.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, local laws number 1 and 2 were EPODs and res, maybe flipped around, but yeah,
Yeah.
we got those basically in January or February.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, when were you hired as a sustainability engineer?
22.
I feel
The
like
position was
That would
created.
be,
needs to
that
go
would
on the
be,
list.
I think that would be on the list too, yeah.
Okay.
Because that was a kind of a big deal just to
be the
have
first.
somebody designated as a sustainability engineer.
Yeah, and that's not to say that I didn't do that work before. I
No,
was
correct.
Put
but
into that position, just now I
recognize the title and the
have
importance
way
of
more
that.
availability to do that work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our committee formation, is that on there somewhere?
That's actually a list something I just added to my list of the combination of EEAC and Conservation Board to create EECC, I think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Is the EAC?
Yes.
God, EEAC, that's so long ago, formation on there as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not in this section, it's in the.
It's way back.
It's what's already on the website,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yes, it
Way
is.
back, okay. Okay, I think I love it personally.
Yeah,
I
I
love
think it's
seeing that
great.
list.
Yeah.
And I really think that's the story that we've all been kind of telling, is the effort that Penfield has been doing to be a sustainability town, a sustainable town. So I think that's very impressive to see. And I appreciate you going back and trying to figure out what did happen in the gaps.
And
So-
we are going back and updating some of what's already on the site to be more clear.
Yeah.
So are most of these things about the Energy Committee prior to when we joined Conservation Committee? And that- 'cause
So
you-
it's not, some of them are items that were completed by EEAC. Some of them are just items that were completed by the town through staff work. So it encompasses both, as it does for this year as well.
I mean, I didn't know if you had to look up old Conservation Committee notes from previous, to see which Arbor Day celebrations we had, or tree giveaways, or things like that.
So that was actually what's already implemented in this timeline was
Okay.
done by Phyllis Ely, who was previously on EEAC as a staff member.
Okay.
And if we have questions, I have her files that I can go through.
Okay, I just, couldn't read it from
yeah.
here to see.
No, that's
Yeah,
okay.
And like, again, this is a very, basic bulleted list. We won't be like citing what exact species we gave away at any
Oh,
Arbor Day
no.
celebration, anything like that.
That-
And that's hoping to kind of keep on that standard. I mean, obviously, we can, provide links and details when appropriate, but for the most part, we're really just trying to highlight those events and those actions that, are paramount.
Yeah, it's a timeline, not a.
It is a
Right, exactly.
timeline, yes, yes.
Okay, excellent. I like it. I think
So
it's
please please feel free to go through the document when Matt sends it out, as well as review the items that are already on the Sustainability at Work page on the town website. And if you have anything additional that you think would be relevant, please let us know. More minds are beneficial in that regard.
Okay. Well, it's good because it really, the progress document shows we've had a very successful year, but it also shows that we have things to do. So I think that's a good combination. Okay.
All right.
Is there any other old business?
Not at this time.
Okay. We'll move into new business, and the first topic is the Arbor Day celebration for 2026.
Yeah, so for the Arbor Day celebration, this is going to be a standing item on future agendas, so we'll just move right into old business. We're starting to discuss dates. It's nothing really definitive right now because the two main things we're really trying to determine is for the EV car show organizers, trying to determine if they can have the event moved into May. So the EV car show is typically held during electric, what is it, the Drive Electric Month?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Which is April. And so they're looking for an
May.
extension or, allowance to have it in May. The other item that may help us determine this is when the actual plant sale occurs and when we can pick up the plants. With the efforts of the committee and, we may, or we've discussed this at previous meetings of having committee members help with organizing and taking care of the plants in order to foster them until we actually give the plants away. But it may be premature to, set that in stone until we actually know when the date is and if that's necessary.
So something that I would like the committee members to consider is the hope of the EV show organizers is that the date would be May 2nd. In my understanding of all of the previous years that Monroe County has done the plant sales, the plants have been distributed in April. So May 2nd will not work if committee members are not interested in fostering these plants and keeping them alive for that time period. So if you are not interested and don't want to move forward with that, it's very important that you acknowledge that. And if you do want to move forward with that and are committed to helping with that, that you let Matt and I know so we can work once we get the date for the sale to move forward with that. Does that make sense?
Volunteered my
Think we-
child, so.
Do we have space where we could store like the plants around here? Like, so we could do like a bucket brigade and get like little buckets and plant them, and
At
instead of
this
giving away
time?
saplings that are bare root, we give away a.
So at this time, we don't have a location that we could store them for a week or two. So that would have to be something like in someone's backyard or something like that.
Correct.
You got plenty of space.
Yeah, my
We have-
backyard's available.
We have a vehicle that we could transport them to the community center for distribution when it's time for that. But we don't have a location to store them for that time period.
So Katie, what did you put them in when you fostered some last year?
Yogurt containers. We
So
went through a
just
lot of
the
yogurt.
little guys or
No, no.
the quart size?
Quart
Okay.
size. Yeah, and I bought a little bit of dirt, and there were 50, and it took
What
up
were
next to
they?
no room on
Trees?
my. It was the wildberry pack, so it was
Fruit trees, the
Different-
fruit shrubs.
Yeah,
It was a mix, wasn't
a
it?
mix,
Trees
yeah.
and shrubs?
Yeah, and it really took up no space. I mean,
Do you think it
Lots
would
of
work
room.
for the trees as well, for the bare root trees, to have something just that
Didn't
large?
that pack
typically
have bare
bigger.
root as well as
it was all
shrubs?
bare root, yeah.
Yeah.
I had
So
No,
those-
I just meant in
oh.
terms of the size.
Both
'cause
of
I
those
feel like-
plantings are about the same size.
Okay, good.
Oh, 2 years ago, I got oaks, red oaks, and that was a mistake. That did not fit in my little buckets. I had to go purchase larger containers, and that
Okay.
made me sad.
Okay, so they did, that would take
Yeah.
a larger container, okay.
So with that consideration, and I don't think we can make a final determination, until the date comes out for the plant sale. But are there any committee members that would be interested in running a subcommittee to organize that if the timing works out?
Yeah, it wouldn't be easy.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just 50 plants or 200 plants.
It'd be like 200 plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I got plenty of space.
Great. Then, once we get those dates, we'll reach out by email so that the subcommittee can start getting together and having that, have those discussions. For your information, if something like dirt needs to be purchased, or those kinds of relatively minimal things, we do have funds that we can allocate towards that.
But if we all need to eat the same thing.
I was going to
just-
say, well, if you need certain things like yogurt, and I can actually ask the Buy Nothing group, and even
Yes.
at our church,
Oh,
I
yeah,
can
that's a
ask
good
people
idea, the Buy Nothing group.
I was gonna
to
say-
save containers.
I've already mentioned that to at least one other staff member, and they were like, I'll start saving my containers, just tell me. So
Yeah.
we'll,
Just
once we
know
get
what
there.
size, an example of it, and
Yeah.
the more trouble I have is to tell them to stop when they're saving something.
Yeah,
No, stop,
yeah.
no more toilet paper rolls, I can't take anymore.
Great. Then, once we have an actual date, we'll reach out. I'll say to Katie and John for organizing that. Great.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to know about Arbor Day at this point?
Oh, did you want to go through the survey results or no?
I may not, just because I really haven't had a chance to actually like filter through them, but know that we have received them. If you haven't done it yet, feel free
Yeah.
to.
I almost think you asked for too much information. I think it might have been better to say, pick your top 3 trees or your top 4 trees.
Well,
or
I mean, it's all
versus
things
rank
that
'em, but-
will help us, like when the actual
Yeah.
catalog comes out, then we can at least,
Okay.
recognize it and reference it. And when we do make our, chances are by January, we will have ordered the plants.
Okay, so you're actually expecting the catalog to come out within the next
Soon.
2 weeks, right?
Yes,
Yes.
last year it came out on December 20th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's also a thought for our organizers, that like now that we've thought of like this is something that we're going to potentially go through, we'll have an idea of what those plans are at the January meeting. And at the January meeting, I can summarize like
Yeah.
what we took from the survey and to make our decision.
Because that is true. At this moment in time, you don't know what's going to be offered.
Absolutely.
So-
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would request that you keep us posted on what our survey results said, just,
Oh, yeah, Matt
I mean,
said
I can
he will.
just share
Yeah.
the tables
yeah.
and give them
That'd
to
be
you. Yeah.
awesome.
All right.
So the next item then, if we'll move on, is the Monroe County Climate Adaptation and Resiliency Plan Survey.
So we shared this at the last meeting, but we wanted to share it again and recommend that residents complete the survey because the county is looking for information so that they can make a plan that is going to have resident buy-in. For your information, apparently there's also a chance to win a $50 grocery store gift card if you complete the survey. So there's a nice win-win.
If you win.
But the hope is that residents complete the survey so that they're going off as much public information as possible, because it's a plan that is not going to work if there is not resident buy-in. So as much input as possible is beneficial.
I just took the survey, and it was less than 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So
it's-
it's nice to have a kind of a
Great.
framework of how much time you need to carve
Thank
out
you.
for that.
I also found the topics, because I really hadn't paid attention to what focal points for the climate adaptation and resiliency plan would be. So it's interesting to hear the topics and kind of say, ooh, I really don't know anything about that, and kind of have to admit that, which is good information for them,
It is.
to have that understanding of what does the community actually understand.
Well, and that also benefits them because then they can shape the plan to include some climate education as well,
Yep.
or climate literacy.
So this is a real easy thing as a town that we can do to actually support that plan. So in a way, Katie, when you talked about making sure that we're involved in the plan, this is step one of us getting involved in the plan. So, okay, nothing else on that. We'll move into the Christmas tree project and Department of Public Works brush drop-off.
Yeah, so Color Penfield Green and Penfield Rotary members are planning on driving around town on January 10th. If there's inclement weather, then it would be pushed to January 17th. But they'll be driving around to pick up Christmas trees and bring them to the DPW to be mulched. And so if you go to the Color Penfield Green website, colorpenfieldgreen.org, right on the very top are the details for mulch your Christmas tree. And you can click this link, pick up my tree, and fill out the form to register. Registration's not necessary, but it's very helpful so that they know what to expect and plan their routes for delivering or picking up all these trees and then delivering them to the DPW. You can just leave them at the curb, and the volunteers will pick them up as they see them. Residents can also drop off trees at the DPW after Christmas until January 17th. There's going to be an area labeled Xmas tree drop-off at the drop-off location. The town's communication coordinator mentioned that there's going to be a release, or they'll post on the website about these opportunities next week, and then they'll have social media posts after Christmas, just pinging people, letting them know about this opportunity to, and it'll also be included in the supervisor's newsletter for December.
Yep. Which comes out near the end of the month.
Yeah, we're going to prioritize the denser parts of town, and so if you live in a more rural part of town, you definitely want to sign up, and we'll make sure we get to that house. But yeah, I think if you live in a pretty dense neighborhood, we'll probably find it.
Great. Good. Okay, anything else on that? Thank you for sharing that, Katie, as well. That's really a great opportunity, as well as the fact that the DPW does accept the trees. So
Yes.
good tagging in on that. Okay, upcoming events?
Yeah, so the one event that we're highlighting is the Art of Native Seed Sowing, which is on January 10th and 17th from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at the Penfield Community Center. I'm just pulling up the brochure. I'm fairly positive that there's a $5 fee for this class. But as you're getting the plants that come along with it, let me just pull it up here to get the exact details. So
I think they ask you, is that the one where they ask you to bring a container to empty?
seeds and soil for containers are provided.
You will be bringing prepared containers for planting to
to
the
the second class. Yeah. Yeah, so again, there's
it's
two dates, the January 10th
two-week
and the 17th.
program. Okay. Yep. So it's not an either or, it's a both.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And yes, there's the $5 fee there. You register on the Penfield Recreation website. This is also highlighted on the Penfield Pollinator website as well. So you can see that class along with raising mason bees. We'll talk about more
That's
about
cool.
that.
That's
at
really
the-
cool. I
like
At the
that.
next
I
meeting,
see
but
that.
yeah, there's a few pollinator-related classes coming up in the recreation catalog.
Okay,
I
great.
might do that.
One thing, Megan Meyer teaches this class, and she
Yes.
mentioned how she has a lot of repeat attendees, which is great to know, so that if you've been once before, it's perfectly fine to go again, because you keep absorbing more. There's so much information. You know, every time you hear it, you absorb more. You can get maybe some new seeds, new and different seeds, and get it going, find out what worked, ask questions about what worked and what didn't last time.
Yeah,
So
that's a
great
good
to
point.
know.
Yeah.
that was news to me, so then I didn't have to feel guilty about taking remedial
Yeah.
planting native seed sowing. It's perfectly acceptable.
And then for your information, there will be other classes that we acknowledge at future meetings that are in this brochure, but will be closer to those dates. So we'll share that at future meetings. But if you look through the brochure, there are other classes that would be applicable.
Yes. As a committee, I would really like us to acknowledge Color Penfield Green as such an asset for us. I just think it's, having them as partners for all the stuff that we're doing is really a phenomenal option for us.
I agree.
And I did attend with Katie. She had talked about what was the official name of the recycling materials for wrapping Christmas?
Pretty and sustainable gift wrapping, I think.
Oh, nice.
Is that a program in the catalog?
No, it was
Oh.
it was done by the library
Oh.
last weekend, and just great ideas. Lou Anderin is so creative and demonstrated all sorts of ways to reduce and reuse and still make it look gorgeous.
And so the idea is not just reduce and reuse, reuse because the items that you create, it's take them back and use them again, or the person that's receiving the gift, specify, hey, this container, use again. And I went home and created something, a couple bags. That night I just have to get some
Drawstring?
drawstring, some rope, something, more than twine that I wanted to use. And so it definitely had an effect on me.
Great, that's good. Okay, are there any other events that anybody wants to bring forward? Okay, wow, we caught them all, huh? Okay, is there any other new business at this time for our committee? Anybody got
Not
anything?
for us at this time.
Okay. Okay, well, that means that I get to adjourn the meeting. So our next meeting is January 8th, new year, 2026. And we wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, because that's all going to happen between now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to call at 5:38 p.m. this meeting of the December 11th meeting of the Town of Penfield's Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee adjourned.